this is the charge IC. Here we have the power jack. Okay, here we have inductors. This is the switch or MOSFET. Here this is basically a Zener diode for protection. Ceramic capacitor, this also for protection. We have another MOSFET here or switch. Okay, and here this is the current sense resistors. We have ceramic capacitors to filter the current. Okay, here we have the IC. This is basically the control part, as I told you before, and this is the IC, the responsible for generating the control signal for this MOSFET. Without the control signal, we cannot get here 19 volt, means the voltage will not be distributed to the whole motherboard. Okay, power source or the V adapter. Here, once we get here 19 volt, it will be distributed to the whole motherboard. Okay, means to all circuit in the motherboard. This is basically the power source. So the voltage coming from the power adapter, coming from here, the power jack, okay, and pass through these inductors, and then goes and pass through the MOSFET, and then goes to this point over here. Okay, and in the same, the same thing, the voltage also will goes and feed this IC in order to generate the voltage necessary to charge the battery. Do you see? Battery charge. So this control is the responsible to generate the necessary voltage to charge the battery, of course. Hi everyone, so welcome to part 3, where we're gonna continue studying the schematic, basically the HP Pavilion G4, G6, G7 schematic. Of course, we're gonna study other schematics, including schematics for D laptop, for of course HP laptops, MacBook laptops, etc. Okay, just stay tuned, and for anyone who doesn't subscribe, please don't forget to subscribe and to hit the like button, because your likes really motivate me to create more useful and unique videos for you. But please, before diving into part 3, I get some messages in my email asking me or requesting from me, from of course my followers, requesting from me to make thing basic. They don't understand exactly the part, especially the part 2. This schematic, as you can see here they find this schematic a little bit difficult. That's why I told you that the majority of my followers are beginners, and because my channel title is Electronics Repair Basics, I will, before going ahead with the parts, means going deeply, I'm going to explain to you some basics, okay, for anyone who never deal with schematics, for beginners, of course, that just try to begin understand schematics. I will try first to explain to you some basics, some symbols, and then move on to intermediate level in the schematics. Okay, so let's get started. Let's begin with the first page. Of course, I can go ahead and go to part 3 with, as I told you before, other part, the control part, the battery part, but my followers matter. I'm here for my followers, and if you need anything, of course, your questions and your requests are the priority in my channel. I always prioritize your needs and your suggestions and of course requests. So let's move on right now to page number 1 and begin from the beginning. Okay, so please, here we have the block diagram. Okay, this is the block diagram. These squares, as you can see here, means ICs or chipsets. For example, this square over here, we will made this video will be a very basic for beginners. So please, for anyone who feel that is advanced or intermediate, don't waste your time, okay? Because this video today will be for beginners, 100% for beginners. And for anyone who want to remain himself and know about the basics, you are very welcome. You can still until the end. Thank you very much, but please don't forget to like the video. So this is basically the block diagram. You will find always this block diagram in every laptop schematics in the beginning, where you will find squares like this, and rectangular. Okay, this is basically a sample for the processor. Okay, this is the processor. We have Intel. Okay, this here rectangular is basically for the PCH. Here we have the NOT bridge or the graphic card integrated with the ICH or the search bridge. Okay, and also we have other squares here that means ICs or input-output part. For example, this is HDD. HDD means hard disk drive, or for new or advanced laptops, you can find instead of HDD, SSD or solid state drive. Here we have ODD, means optical disk drive. Okay, and as you can see, we have the LAN basically slot, the wireless slot, we have the card reader, the slot or the cartridge when we put the card. We have the key PC, means the keyboard controller. This is a controller. Okay, where this control the keyboard, as you can see, control the keyboard, the touchpad, the ROM or the BIOS, and the fan. Okay, to cool down the processor. Okay, so here this squares we have SODIMM, we have DDR3, means this is the RAM slots. We have 4 gig RAM, 4 gig for this slot also. If you want, for example, to go and look for the schematic of the HDD ports, you can go here. You have PG, means page 23. So page 23, in this schematic you're gonna find the HDD. Okay, so what we have also here, so we have basically here the graphic card, because we have here HDMI, SRT, LVDS. So let's move on to the next page. I'm going step by step. So this kind, as you can see, of rectangular, as you can see, divided into other small rectangular, means this is chipset. Okay, this is basically chipset, and of course this is the processor, as you can see here, processor. So this rectangular here means controller. So within the processor there is many controls inside it. Here, for example, this is the controller that control the bus that connect between the processor and the PCH. We called it DMI, or Direct Media Interface. Do you see DMI as we have here? If we go here, we have DMI. This is the bus between the processor and PCH. We have another bus, FDI, and another bus, we called it FSB, or front side bus. Okay, and we have, of course, here Intel FDI, we have PC Express graphics, EDP, etc. Okay, so this is an IC, of course, CPU reset to receive the CPU. Here also we have another part for the CPU. So let's move on. Also here we have CPU. Okay, this is DDR system memory, of course, controllers. So here as you can see, this is also for the processor. Do you see the processor? So all these parts are for the processor. Here we have the core supply or the voltage. Do you see all these pins are connected to the voltage to VCC, as you can see here. So let me make it easy for you. Okay, so here as you can see we have VCC core. So this is VCC core, or we call it CPU voltage, that is passed through all these ceramic capacitors. As you can see, why we have all these ceramic capacitors? Because the processor basically needs a very accurate, pure, exact voltage. That's why we have this capacitor here to smooth and to filter the voltage or the current. Okay, then here we have the PFG and DDR controller, the SVID controller, and the sense lines controllers. Always here, as you can see, for the PEG and DDR control, we have another voltage. As you can see, we have 1.05 volt VTT, as we have seen before. This is another part within the processor where we have graphics control, etc. So let's move on. So here, as you can see, also this is the processor. This rectangle is basically assigned to VSS. VSS means ground. As you can see here, we have ground. All these pins connected to the ground. Okay, all these pins also connected to the ground. And of course, in every circuit or every chipset, you can find some pins that are not connected. As you can see, this mark here means not connected. As you can see, not connected pins. Okay, here we have, as you can see, reserved pins or not connected, or you call it sometimes growth. Okay, if you want to add more signals or more capabilities to enhance that CPU. So here, as you can see, I want to speak about a little bit about this shapes or forms. This means the signal coming from this chipset and goes to another side. This, for example, here, let's see the opposite. Okay, we don't have here the opposite, another signal that coming from this side to the chipset, and we have other forms. As you can see, both sides means bidirectional. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, do you see this? This signal means coming from here to here, and this signals and also this is the opposite. Okay, so here let's see some symbols here. Basically, this is the control IC. This square always in every circuit means the control IC. We have MOSFETs or power controls. We have DC capacitors, ceramic capacitors, and here we have electronic capacitors with plus and minus. If we zoom a little bit, as you can see, so let's see, do you see? We have here plus and minus, but for this is just PF or ceramic capacitors. Here we have basically we have the inductor or coil. VN means the input voltage. This is the symbol for the ground. Okay, here basically those are test point where you can check this voltage. Okay, so this is resistors. The forms that already I explained to you mean the direction of the signal. So let's see this side. Okay, here we have a diode. Always you will find the reference for diode is PD or D means diode. For R you will find PR or R, and of course for ceramic capacitor you will find C or PC, and this is basically the value. Here for this capacitor we have 0.1 microfarad 10 volts. Okay, as you can see. So now we are here in the schematic or circuit, the charge circuit, where we have stopped yesterday. Okay, I told you that this is the charge IC. Here we have the power jack. Okay, here we have inductors. This is the switch or MOSFET. Here this is basically a Zener diode for protection. Ceramic capacitor, this also for protection. We have another MOSFET here or switch, okay? And here this is the current sense resistors. We have ceramic capacitors to filter the current, okay? Here we have the IC. This is basically the control part, as I told you before, and this is the IC, the responsible for generating the control signal for this MOSFET. Without the control signal, we cannot get here 19 volt, means the voltage will not be distributed to the whole motherboard, okay? Because as you can see here, we have power source or the V adapter here. Once we get here 19 volt, it will be distributed to the whole motherboard, okay? Means to all circuit in the motherboard. This is basically the power source. So the voltage coming from the power adapter, coming from here, the power jack, okay? And pass through these inductors, and then goes and pass through the MOSFET, and then goes to this point over here, okay? And in the same, the same thing, the voltage also will goes and feed this IC, in order to generate the voltage necessary to charge the battery. You see, battery charge. So this control is the responsible to generate the necessary voltage to charge the battery. Of course, these two MOSFETs also have a very important role or mission in terms of generating this voltage. The inductor also, and also these ceramic capacitors that will smooth the current, okay? This diode here, when you find always the diode connected to the power in the anode, and to the ground or the cathode to connect it to power rail in its cathode, and to the ground in the anode, means this is a protection diode. So guys, thank you very much. I like always to make a short videos. Thank you very much. So please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and like the video, because your likes motivate me to create more unique videos for you. And for anyone who want to join me in my Patreon page, you are very welcome. In my Patreon page, I will put from today and back, I will put a free laptop schematics and computer schematics in a daily basis that you can upload for free. Just join me or subscribe to my Patreon page, and you will find, of course, other unique and exclusive content. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.